Olorato was found dead on Monday.
Yeah.
What were the events that led up to her being found dead? What happened?
A week before that, she meets a character, a guy. Unfortunately, we're still trying to unlock her phone so that we can see the conversation. Because unfortunately, as parents, we're not always preview of conversations with our children. And most of her friends also didn't know the guy. And this is why they all suggested every 30 minutes, send us your location. So meets up with this guy. And a week later, he's in Joburg. So let's meet up.
First met up, she saw him.
Yes.
At a mall.
Because they were in one of the retail stores, they exchanged numbers. And we're just trying to get that footage so that we can see the face. Because there's another case that was identified, and with that case they do have a face, so they just want to make sure that it's the right face. So gets to Joburg, let's meet up for lunch, which is much safer than dinner with a person you don't know, and that's the assumption that we make. And as she's walking, he says, don't take your car, I'll come fetch you. And now as we look at what happened, he reverses into the complex. He does not enter facing the camera. You're coming to fetch a person that you fancy, why would you not go in? Why would you just reverse for her to just go into the car? And then they go, she starts sending the locations
to her friends.
Every 30 minutes as per agreement.
Yeah.
And then she says, if I take longer than 30 minutes, call me. She takes an hour, they consent. They say, maybe they're having a conversation, let's just wait a little. 2 hours later, they're like, no, 2 hours is too long, let's call. By then, her phone is off. This is just 2 hours of her leaving her apartment in Ethel, in Senton, where they picked her up, and 2 hours later, her phone is off. Connects to find location. Obviously, they start calling family in panic that she's not answering her phone is now off. What do we do? And that's when we said, let's issue a warning. Because if you can see the first poster, we're just saying, if you see her somewhere, we're not saying something has happened. We're just saying, if you see her somewhere, please alert her that family is worried. And that was what we said. And they do the find location. Location sends them to a house outside Bramley. The bag and the cell phone dumped there. Everything is there, including her ID, her wallet. It was not a crime.
Why, hello, hi, it is me, Tazai, Motan Didi, you're ready on zero internet, Zakastracha, and back, yalla, like something's weigh on me, and I'm not, and I know in like this line of putting out content, it's best to do it while it's still hot, to get your views across, your points across, while people are still like into the topic and not fatigued. But sometimes I can't, like I simply cannot, right? It's not to say I won't talk about it later. Olorato is all over our news feeds, our social media feeds, everywhere, right? If you are in South Africa right now, this young lady's life was cut short by just senselessness, like to say the least. And I think more than anything, it's the conversations that it brought up, the men's reactions. They're waiting to see, and the pick-me's, the men waiting to see where they can find an angle to blame it on her, in a way that is going to like put the fear of God into young women. Like in such a way that they, like losers that's doing this, they will now have access to you because you're so scared to explore the world around you, and somehow blaming it on her. Somehow it's happening because she wasn't careful. I recorded a couple of dingy videos. This one is also dingy, it's okay. I recorded a couple of dingy videos in my friend's car, and I was supposed to vlog that. I told you guys that I don't have the footage, but I'm in Limpopo. You guys know this, right? I had to do a quick like Gauteng thing, do her grad, do her lunch, and then come back because I had shit to do. And I did everything Olorato did, but I'm here, right? Because I happen to have used a transport of people who weren't criminals, who were out to get me, who weren't engaging. Like, that's it. That's the only difference between her and I, is that the people I rode with were really meaning to just fare me to and fare me back. Like they weren't interested in anything else. And she was specifically targeted, right? They meant to, I hear now they're saying that no, it was just like a robbery. It seems like a syndicate. That's what is being said now. They target young women at malls and stuff. And approach them, plan dates and stuff with them, knowing that they're planning to rob them on these dates. Over the last few years, we've seen people being kidnapped for several hours or a couple of days until they can drain or like the money's out of your account and they ditch you somewhere, because crime in this country is a problem. Men go through this thing as well. A lot of people wind up like her or don't, right? A lot of people make it out of it and things don't get to this point where within an hour or two from the time that this person picked her up is what's being reported, they no longer with us, and that's the thing about violence. You have no control of it because it's its own thing. I've seen when people engage in like violent behavior and they think they're in control. It's just going to be, you're not in charge of that thing. It's its own thing. It's a slippery slope and you do wind up here. Do you understand? So all of this is happening, but then the conversation quickly turns to, what are you guys doing with strangers? My mom met my dad, according to them, because I wasn't there. No, these people be lying, right? But like they say they met, my mom caught a lift. Like she was waiting for a taxi. My grandmother's house is right by the main road. And she was trying to catch a taxi to come to the hospital where she's doing her studies. I don't know if they were calling it her internship. I don't know what it was called back then. But she was coming to do that. And my dad stopped. And this lady got in a stranger's car. And I'm here today. That stranger happened to not be a stranger that's trying to do stuff to her. And they built a strong family. The black families that you guys go on and on about, but you don't have and don't have the capacity to build. You don't come from them. Like it's not your world, but you love to talk about it so much and talk about how it happened because two strangers took a chance. That's how that shit happened. My dad happened to not be a fucking criminal who's like a murderous criminal. That was luck. That was luck on my mom's side. She's not special. She didn't do anything extra. That's not what happened there. Luck. That she got into this, by the way, they have an age gap, my parents, into this man's car who's older than her. And he dropped her off and he asked for her number and she gave him the hospital's number. That's what they say, because they be saying stuff, right? For all I know, they were at the groove. We lying. Parents be trying to like make like it was all romantical back then. Like nobody was just out here. Is it just us? It's just us meeting at the Shebeen. Okay, girl. But that's what they say. That's how this family was born. That's how I'm sitting here all those years later now, right? That's how my siblings and I are happening. What do you mean, girls? See, men are and they tell on themselves. And I wish you guys were listening. I wish you guys were paying attention. Guys, if I have the earlier footage, because I sent a clip to my mom of like the car was riding and the plate, they could make out what the guys kind of looked like. And then they could also, I always send a live location when I'm traveling a distance and I do the 8 hour. Like I do a lot. Because I'm a very anxious person like that. Like I delete banking app. Listen, I do stuff when I am having to just move from here to there. And it's not a distance that I'm used to moving, or I'm not moving with people I'm familiar with and blah, blah. All of that stuff, because the bear, men are not the bear. That's why we do that. When we take these precautions and we're ticking all of these boxes, making sure we've done this, we've done that. We're doing it also because we want to be found if this happens. Do you understand that? Do you understand part of, you have already done the calculation to say, I don't want my parents to not like have race because they didn't see my body. They didn't get to say goodbye. If something is to happen, I want them to have this closure. I at least want them to track around how I moved roundabout and then I wound up here. That's the anxiety and the planning and the foresight that goes into being a woman, and a woman in South Africa, but really I believe a woman all over, because we do it with the Ubers all around the world. All the advice that we ever get is about the precautions we need to take, things we need to do to protect ourselves. And there isn't enough conversation of men talking to other men about how they aren't entitled to women and women's bodies. Instead, there's this weird fucking conversation happening about male loneliness epidemic and how the girls are just so progressive and the girls no longer want to perform this role, further feeding into the fact that we're the ones that are fucking up the system, right? The men are actually onto something. The boys are entitled to things. If you're a guy and you want money, but you don't want to work for it the right way, go be a criminal. Make your money that way as long as you make your money. Because we know those guys who support their families and their families take their money. These boys, these young men, not boys, these men that were involved in the syndicate and stuff, they have families. They have people they support. They have women in their lives who take money from them knowing where that money comes from. From what I understand, one of the accused here, because I think the main suspect was had a shootout with the police and is no longer on the physical plane with us, thank the gods that be for that. But one of them, I don't know if it's the main one, hit out at their moms, or their moms warned them that, listen, your picture's floating about, they're looking for you. You've just learned the kind of violence that your child is involved in, and you're still interested in protecting him. Are you saying you feel safe with him? Like, what? I want to understand this stuff. I want to understand how we don't understand how it all goes back to the fact that these boys aren't being conditioned to move the direction that the girls are moving in. And it's creating all of this conflict. And it's very, when we talk about gender wars, it's very, oh my God, but we don't understand and you see it in the reactions to what's happened here. Men feeling like, well, that will teach the girls to stop wanting to reach further away. That date the boy because they don't want to work hard at anything, but they want access to you while actively telling you that you're the one that fears loneliness. And all women want to be married, and all women want to be, and mind you, these are the anxieties that they're projecting onto you. And then you swallow them. Then the pygmies also come on here and try to tell the rest of us as well as to what we want. Saying that we saying, I think as a show, is it on Power? Is it on Power on Radio 2000? I think it's on Power. And there's a clip, if I find it, I'll put it on here, where he says something about the caller, frequent caller, tries to sneak in one of these types of takes of girls just need to be more careful. It's now gone to, if the girls weren't gold diggers, because we're literally existing in a space where these boys can't even afford to take us on a date, or worse, they say we're not worth them spending that kind of money. So it's like, serves you right for wanting to go have steak. Do you understand the attitude here? It's like, stop having these expectations of us and this wouldn't happen to you. If that is your take, do you understand that you're part of when we say all men, this is what we mean. Because you are so quick to come and say shit like this, and you think you're any different from those guys that are part of that syndicate that actually unalived this young lady, an only child, you guys, with a promising future, like gorgeous, articulate, like you guys think you're different from those guys. You do. The girls is saying things like, oh, she should have, there's nothing she could have done. What didn't she do? She did everything they tell us to do. Literally did everything by the book, and the goalpost was moved, and we're now trying to find a loophole where we can blame her in such a way that allows or puts women in a position where we lower our standards so that these ones down here who can't elevate get to have access to us while telling us that we're the desperate ones. You're using the murder of a young woman to try and convince women to give themselves access to you for you not being able to do the bare minimum, like take them out on a date. So then where are we going to go? Am I going to bring you into my house? Is that safe? Is that where we're going to get to know each other? I'm going to come over to your house where you have all the control. We're not going to go out in a public space and sit in a public space where everybody can see and converse and try to see that. No, that's no longer a thing that we're going to do. That's not. So then what, how do we go about it? Since we're blaming her now, this lady that's no longer with us, Olorato is gone. She is gone over criminality. And in the senseless criminality, instead of saying, oh, South Africa is a crime problem, terrible things are happening, terrible things. Instead of saying that, you're finding all of this other stuff where you as a pick-me want to make like it hasn't happened to you because you're such a good woman and you wouldn't go out with a stranger, right? As if, and you guys, this is what's crazy about when you are set up on a date through a friend, a family member, whatever. Things still happen there. In fact, your guard is even lower in those situations because you're meeting this person through a trusted mutual. So your guard's even lower. So the abuses that take place there. You guys acting like we're more in danger going on a date versus with the people we're actually actively sleeping with in our beds every night when we know what the GBV life looks like in here, Zanzi. Like, are we serious right now? Are we serious? You need to, whenever these things come up, ask the men in your life in a non whatever. Just pitch the story. Hey, this is happening. What do you think here? I've been floating there's a case over there. Terrible things are happening in America over there where, you know, they've done away with women's rights to decide what they want to do with strangers, like in their bodies and stuff like that. They've done away with that, and they have a woman now who's been said to be brain dead. Like the doctors are like, she's met all the requirements for this, and she has a fetus that looks like it's not going to be viable. I forget her name. I think her name is Adrian. I'm not sure, but I've been floating that story to men in my life. Like, oh my God, this is happening. What do you think? What do you think about that? And it doesn't do this when these kind of, so you know what, and it doesn't need to be in, and don't, that's the thing about them. They learn to temper and tinker and do stuff to their responses. Don't do, unless it's like a young boy that needs educating and fixing and stuff. But if it's a guy that you're talking to, whatever, just be like, hey, what do you think of this? Oh, okay. They'll tell you about their religious beliefs. They have all types of religious standards and morals and stuff for other people, things they want you to live by. Because, yeah, men have so many things they need women to do with their bodies because it's the right thing to do and that's what God wants, right? In this case, it's, oh, your brothers should introduce you to somebody. Because they're always trying to figure out a way to control women. And it's insidious like that. Sometimes it's like, because it's your brother, you don't see it from that angle. It's still control. It is still control. Because what is the point of saying don't go out with strangers? Who's not a stranger? It's crazy. I was saying to my best friend, I'm like, I can't believe you done brought these strangers in our lives, girl. You done married a whole, mind you, she's been with this man for like forever at this point. And I'm like, you just met a stranger, baby. You just met a stranger. You were like, whoop, and it's working out because that's how the fuck it works. Okay? That is how the fuck this shit works. I don't want to take up a lot of your time, you guys, because I really did not have much to say on it. It was too heavy for me to talk about it during the week because I was very heavy at the responses of, wait, how do we do that? Like, how does that happen? Where this is happening and we're having 5 different conversations. Imagine how worse the conversation would have been if she didn't take these precautions, because they're already blaming her and she took the measures that they say to take. Imagine what they would have been saying about this lovely lady if she didn't do, like, if they're saying it now, because they don't care. Right? They're either online saying that or they know where to be found. A couple of weeks ago, there was spazzing, if not a couple of months ago now. I don't watch adulting, but the men on the internet were having meltdowns over some shit that was happening to a fictional character. A fictional male character was experiencing something, a death of sorts. I think he died. I think he actually did die, got in a shootout with the cops. I don't know. And then he's also in this like on and off again thing with this girl, and it's very toxic and stuff. And he's such a victim of her, and she yelling at him, and all the men were so fictional. Because the only time they can employ some kind of empathy, and it can't be empathy, it's a different word. The only time they can employ any level of anything that looks like is when they see something that resembles them. Then they're like, oh, because that they recognize that as a human being. When something happens to people who look like you and I, they start to want to hear the whole story. They want the backstory. They want to start now. Women are so emotional. As a logical creature, they call themselves that. As a logical person, like men are like, we must take our emotions out of this and warn our sisters that not to trust strangers. You are actively in the club trying to talk to girls you don't know. You are a stranger. You're a stranger, babe. You are a stranger to the girls you are liking their pictures on Instagram and just lusting after them and hoping one day they'll give you an inch. You're a stranger to those people. And you seem to not see yourself as a danger. I don't get it. They were having a meltdown over that fictional character's life. One of my homeboys is going through this, but nobody wants to talk about when it's men experiencing violence. One of it's like the false equivocation or even trying to like hint at it. Get the fuck out of my face with this. Do you understand? The only reason this hasn't happened to you, and I've seen people say this, and I don't know if we're getting it yet, is because you were simply not put in a situation with the kind of man who wanted to do that. It's not because of anything crazy that you did or anything so like, oh my God, I'm so safe. I take all the precautions. I mean, I am an anxious bull all the time. We have this thing here in my area that they call load reduction, right? It's like apartheid of a special kind. It's like like load shedding hasn't stopped for people in certain areas. Those of you who don't experience it, the rest of us are. Like it hasn't stopped. I've had load shedding the whole year. Like 4 hours a day, 7 in the morning. 5 to 7 a.m. and then 5 to 7 a.m. in the morning. Like peak hours when you're getting ready for work and when you're coming like back and trying to reset the house and stuff. And now going into winter, I am crazy paranoid. I don't even wait for it to start getting the gates are locked. I'm locking stuff. I'm closing this. I'm doing whatever because men exist. And even ticking all of these boxes, I am aware anything could still happen. Can you imagine? I don't even have this false sense of feeling safe even after I've done my checklist of did you lock this? Did you do this? Is this set? Is this whatever? What do you do when this happens? This is literally what my mind does. Like, I'm about to start my routine of doing that. And shit could still happen. Because it's your turn. Because the men are fucking violent. That's all I wanted to say. Mwah.